everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel BNB Daily Spoiler. Rich pushed Taylor to dump Deacon.
Ridge convinces Taylor to end her relationship with Deacon, and Miss Dillon eats pizza from the trash at Il Giardino. When Ridge saw Taylor in Deacon's arms, he ordered them to stop. Taylor tells Ridge that he can't just walk in her office and give directions. Ridge tells Deacon that if he thinks he can have a relationship with Taylor, he is as crazy as his wife. Deacon claims that he is in love with Taylor and that he cannot avoid her. This is where it ends, according to Ridge. Deacon replies, "I don't care what you think." He declares his love for her once more. Ridge orders him to keep his nut job wife at bay and to keep Taylor safe from her. After Deacon leaves, Ridge starts drinking her water and tells her that she's acting strangely. Taylor protests, claiming that she and Deacon lift each other up and that he is giving her the commitment she has been looking for. Ridge is powerless to choose who she will love. They argue about her wants and needs. She and her family need to be safe, he says. If they're kidnapped, they will all be in danger. There will be mayhem. She insists on seeing and being picked up by Deacon. She wants to find out what happened to her. Taylor wasn't ready to learn that she and Deacon have a close relationship. Ridge keeps saying that he and Steffi are right and that Steffi should be terrified. He hopes she understands that. She sighs and admits that he is correct. Taking her hand, Ridge says he wants her to find love and happiness, but that person can't be Deacon. She understands that she can't see Deacon. She's found love, so it must end. At Il Giardino, Sheila talks to Deke as he eats pizza. She tries to win his sympathy by showing him her toe stumps. He is disgusted when she explains that she lost one of her toes while saving Steffi, and she laughs. She wonders why he is so depressed. Is she the cause of his suffering? She urges him to feel a bit more joy for her and his dad. Sheila thinks they can get along if they make an effort. He can't look past her past. She promises him that he might be a part of the real future she and his father are building. "I'll pass," he says. Sheila loves a challenge and is persistent. She is determined to gain his acceptance. She threatens to kill him if he gets in the way of her and Deacon. Sheila bursts out laughing. He's not laughing. She assures him that she is morally pure despite her bad behavior. She takes her vows to his father very seriously, so if someone tried to destroy her marriage, she would lose it. His son tells him that his wife is waiting upstairs when Deacon arrives after she leaves. Deacon shows up as Sheila is lighting candles and asking to spend the night with her father. He claims he's not up for it and that he's coming down with something. Tragically, Deacon and Taylor consider how much they love each other. Deke throws his pizza in the garbage can. Dylan shows up, grabs it, and eats it before returning to her car. Jamie, happy to see him at Forrester, flirts with RJ before he goes in to meet his mother. She starts asking him if he is attracted to Jamie and suggests that they have dinner with his father. After Dylan brings up Electra, his mother goes on to praise her kindness. RJ was able to meet her as well. Brooke thinks Dylan deserves something amazing after a challenging life. RJ is shocked to hear that she lived in her car. Finally, Ridge's hypocrisy is revealed by Taylor, who places him in his rightful place. That night, Ridge confronts Taylor in the study. He states bluntly, "You have been concealing things." Taylor listens, her face bewildered. "I can't be married to someone who keeps secrets from me." She has been keeping a sensitive fact to herself, not to deceive Ridge, but because discretion was required for someone's safety. Ridge interrupts her as she starts to answer, saying the words that will haunt him. "If you cared about this family, you'd have told me." The seeds of conflict are planted. Ridge's standard, transparency, versus Taylor's motivation, vulnerability protection. The audience begins to suspect that Ridge's desire for transparency is motivated by more than just principle. It may also be influenced by ego and image. Taylor's silence is a tactic, not a sign of cowardice, but she is tired of listening to lectures. A whispered history, a secret ledger. Taylor's silent resistance starts to take shape when a small, routine corporate file reveals that Ridge approved a politically controversial donation years ago to repair a strained relationship with a difficult client. The gift was recorded in Ridge's own handwriting and was never made public, with Ridge consistently presenting it as doing what the company needed and Taylor who at the time advised caution, keeping it out of the media at Ridge's request. Ridge feels entitled to demand Taylor's honesty because of their private complicity. He has positioned himself as the family's moral bulwark, but he has also been prepared to choose practical concealment when it benefits the company. The show reveals Ridge's private deal through flashback. He approved a donation that included hush money to keep a big client from divorcing in a messy way, claiming that doing so would safeguard jobs and Forster's reputation. Taylor opposed on principle, but he waited because Ridge emphasized that the stake were company survival and the expense was minimal. When a junior accountant accidentally finds the ledger and hands it to a friend, who then posts a screenshot on social media, exposing Ridge's own ability to compromise, the board mutters. The press is ecstatic, and while Ridge is in a panic in private, he appears to be angry at Taylor in public. As Taylor watches him, something changes in him. Anger turns to insight. According to Taylor, enough is enough. At first glance, Taylor's decision appears to be well thought out rather than spectacular. To try to mend fences, she calls a family get-together, which includes Brooke, Finn, Steffi, and a few board members. The atmosphere is tense because everyone expects Ridge to lecture or defend his territory, so Taylor pushes the ledger across the table after opening an envelope. The same journal that records Ridge's donation and the notes indicating he asked her to keep quiet. She reads, "Quiet, accurate, lethal." She goes on, "Ridge asked me to keep this a secret. It would safeguard the business," he argued, and I complied. The room falls silent as she says, "I'm done being the one to shoulder secrecy alone." Her voice is steady. Ridge's face pales, and he tries to boast, but the evidence and Taylor's restrained tone deny him the moral superiority. Ridge's insistence on Taylor's full disclosure now seems deceptive, and the first major shift in the arc is that Taylor's disclosure is intended to level the playing field rather than exact revenge. By exposing the ledger, she hopes to reframe the argument so that it is no longer about her failing to hide, but rather a shared approach that he also benefited from. The public's eye changes. News breaks. The next morning, Ridge was unprepared for the headline that appeared on social media feeds. Forster donation. Why Taylor was told to stay quiet. Ridge is shocked not only by the revelation of his behavior, but also by the fact that the story has changed, with Ridge compromising and Taylor providing the cover. As Steffi and Finn scramble to keep the company safe, Brooke offers damage control measures like apologies, clarifications, and possibly a staged transparency shift. Taylor refuses to participate in the PR ploy, insisting that the truth be told and that all of Forster's leaders be held to the same standards. Ridge tries to regain control on camera, making false claims about accountability and stewardship. Sheila, who lurks like a vulture, is both relieved and uneasy because she knows that if Taylor's revelation eases Deacon's pressure, there might be more plans. Deacon, who has been on the edge of the family's secrets and senses a possible reset, watches from a wide distance. Ridge retaliates, but ignores the message. Ridge's first instinct is to strike back. This should have been handled privately, he tells cameras during a press conference, characterizing Taylor's disclosure of the ledger as a personal betrayal. Taylor chose spectacle over partnership. However, the light from the ledger undermines his criticism, as the cameras display Ridge's handwriting and his earlier letters instructing Taylor to keep things secret for the stability of Forster. In a private conversation later that night, Ridge addresses Taylor in a way that reveals more motivation than anger. "You embarrassed me," he says. "You asked me to lie for you," Taylor replies coolly. Public moralizing and private compromise are incompatible. The simmering anger transforms into moral clarity. Ridge is shocked to discover that his role as a moral bulwark has been ineffective. He tries to justify himself by stating, "I did it for the company." The emotional core of the arc is Taylor's response. "You did it to protect your image of yourself." During the exchange, Ridge's rhetorical armor is removed. He is angry about being exposed and ashamed of the double standard, and he snaps, but Taylor has reclaimed her voice, so the old scripts no longer apply. Proof, context, and a request for Taylor's masterstroke. Beyond just exposing the ledger, Taylor reveals the structure of the contribution. the rationale behind its classification, and the ways in which Ridge's ego has often influenced the company's moral choices rather than shared values. She does this by presenting emails, documents, and the testimony of a trustworthy former board member who attests to Ridge's order. She asserts that if we're going to ask people to be accountable, the rules must apply to all of us. Her demand is institutional rather than spiteful, and she uses the situation to impose structural change, transforming a personal dispute into business transformation. The crowd is shocked when she demands that Ridge publicly apologize and that any future payments of this kind be subject to board-level authorization and disclosure. It's smart and dangerous. Ridge annoys his supporters. Steffi sees the strategic benefit. Systemic checks help the organization survive better and prevent future disasters. Some board members doubt that Ridge will agree. The PR math is simple, though. Either accept the reforms and try to restore trust, or fight and risk more damage. Ridge's public meltdown and private reckoning. Ridge gives a botched press conference, claiming that he has always acted in Forrester's best interest, but he makes a rare comment about his personal sacrifices, demonstrating that he has been defending his ego as much as he has been defending the business. Reporters take advantage of the situation, and Ridge loses his composure, making the man who used to dominate conversations look small as the camera records him breathing during a break he used to avoid. At home, Ridge vacillates between humiliation and anger. Desperate to reframe Taylor's public actions as a betrayal of private counsel, he makes a private plea to her. Taylor refuses to back down, telling him, gently but firmly, "You wanted me to keep the secret. I had it with me." Finally, he understands that her disclosure is not a power struggle, but rather an act of moral clarity. "We lost our integrity by keeping a secret, so I told the truth." For both of them, this scene represents a turning point. Ridge must weigh the costs of upholding his reputation, while Taylor must weigh the costs of being honest with the family and the company. New ties are created as allies evolve. Alliances are dynamic. Since she recognizes the business value in Taylor's need for transparency, Steffi, who has often been Ridge's staunchest ally, quietly supports the policy change. Finn mediates and proposes a public reconciliation plan that incorporates measures for transparency and counseling. Ever the strategist, Brooke arranges a controlled interview so Taylor can explain her reasons and change the focus from scandal to reform. Seeing the change, Deacon approaches Taylor not as a suitor, but as an ally who has long been treated unfairly. As he tells Taylor, "You did the right thing," Sheila senses the ground shifting beneath her schemes. Her answers will guide future maneuvers, but for the moment, the family's rejection of her keeps her from causing the mayhem she wants. In a heartwarming moment, Taylor and Ridge meet with the board. Ridge issues a brief but sincere public apology. Taylor interprets it as a step toward accountability rather than a sign of surrender in a private moment. The board has approved the new policy ideas. Forrester sighs cautiously. The psychological repercussions. Restitution without erasure. The repair procedure is not easy. Ridge and Taylor attend therapy, and during their difficult dinners together, they engage in direct, casual conversation rather than practicing manners. Ridge is under public scrutiny after former friends question why he didn't hold himself to his standards sooner. Taylor continues to lead the business reforms she initiated, turning individual hardship into the benefit of society. She's respected by some and despised by others. As a champion for the community, Deacon discreetly helps the people Taylor used to defend. His presence is stabilizing instead of destabilizing now that he is a social work partner instead of a rival for Taylor's love. The author's interactions are mature and subtly considerate, and they permit longing to be complex without being predatory. Sheila plots once more after being rejected and hurt, but because of the family's increased control, it's harder for her to get help. The family's accountability is maintained for a while, but Quinn and other opportunists watch for any vulnerability to exploit. New conflicts are set up in the plot lines. A new finding and the problem of trust. Just when the family seems to be settling in, a new surprise shows up. A set of 10-year-old, Previously sealed company emails are delivered anonymously to the board. The emails indicated that the ledger donation was not a one-time concession, but rather a part of a broader trend of off-the-books decisions. The revelation may expose more faces and begs the question of who knew what and when. Taylor, who is steady and astute, proposes one more reform: a public audit and a pledge to publish a redacted report that identifies patterns while maintaining privacy. Ridge is troubled by the torrent of new criticism and has to decide whether to accept a full accounting. He and Taylor stood side by side at a press conference, their faces calm but unvarnished. Taylor turns to face Ridge and whispers into the microphone, "The truth will be ugly. If we want to grow, we must see it." Ridge hesitantly and slightly reaches for Taylor's hand as the camera pans to his. The last picture displays the anonymous mail on the boardroom table as the chaos in the media intensifies. This time, will Ridge take the whole truth? The screen dims. Or might past instincts come back to haunt you? Future events, themes, and payoffs. This arc is a slow-burning, character-driven reorientation. Taylor changes Ridge from a person who carries secrets to someone who upholds morals by exposing her deceit. The advantages are both individual and institutional. Taylor's development. She goes from being a defender to a reformer. Her choices create structural safeguards that might prevent future harm related to secrecy, despite the fact that they are expensive and complex. Ridge's insight. His pride and defense provided him with moral strength until he was exposed. The cornerstones of his future are accountability, humility, and a difficult undertaking of true trust. Public audits and policy changes alter Forrester's culture. The drama will shift to new locations, like internal power struggles or outside saboteurs, even though the boardroom will be safer and more boring. Sheila and Deacon. Sheila is reduced from a chaotic agent to a cunning outsider until new opportunities present themselves, while Deacon's role shifts to one of community salvation. Long-term hooks. There is a ton of material for future episode from the Court of Public Opinion, potential extra participants in hushed decisions, and the anonymous emails.